Cool. As I mentioned earlier, I went to Churchill Boys High School, which had to be in the top 10 most gangster Zimbabwean schools, right? So, I mean, like, seriously, by the time I was 16, we had blazers. We used to wear blazers and stuff. My blazer was custom fitted. Like, I had this section in here where I had an extension stick, and I had this side with brass knuckles. That's how gangster my school was. And in the book, I try to explain to my son my fascination with martial arts. I managed to get 2 black belts, and they're not leather. I didn't buy them. I earned them. But as my friend says, a black belt only covers 2 inches of your ass. You do the rest. So, and I just try to explain to him about the cycle. I like to call it the cycle. I have this ability to go to 0 to 100 like that. And I just try to explain about my tenure at Churchill and how it messed with my head in that aspect. It's pretty interesting. And I tried to explain about the booty. Like I said, I'm mentoring a lot of young men, and there are dynamics to us that surface in depth. What it really is, what's going on. And I used to medicate. That's why I used to get so much booty. I used to medicate my physical and psychological pain with sex when I was younger, and I realized how bad it is and the effects it had on my mental health. And as I mentor younger men and I come into my own as a Christian, man, yeah, I try to explain to them. I don't try and be a hypocrite. I sit down with these guys and tell them, don't do that. One of my biggest current challenge is I've told myself I'm going to, as a Christian, I'm going to try and try being the key word. I'm going to try and abstain until I get married. As I said, I'm trying not to be a hypocrite. When I sit down with these young men, these guys are like 15, 16. And if we look at society and we're honest, there are a lot of young men who are breeding but have no intention of fathering. And like I said, there's a lot of causes social issues, and these kids grow up in an environment, well, sometimes as parents we don't realize the choices that we make and the impact they have on our children. There are a lot of choices that my parents made impacted me a certain way, and I see certain people make choices with their children, and I do realize later on in their life it's going to affect them. We have a social, there are a lot of social issues, I think, in New Zealand. Like growing up in Zimbabwe, when we were teenagers, when we got drunk, we had one agenda when we got drunk: the booty. We didn't fight, we didn't kick down bins, we didn't tag. When we got drunk, pursuit of the booty. Back. Sorry, had a moment, flashback. But yeah, sitting down mentoring these young men, I'm trying to help them not go through what I went through. Not that the sex was painful, it was good, but psychologically and morally it's not good. And if I have a son, I'd like to give him certain qualities and not let him go through what I went through. The most interesting dynamic about mentoring these young men, and please hear me, is I was surprised by how many young men were craving to hear these words from their father: I love you. So if you have a son and you have a daughter, tell them, don't be a manly man, don't be a womanly woman, or whatever it is that you're going through. Sit down with your children, tell them you love them, and then show them that you love them. So it's not just ignorant stuff that I do. It's the honesty. And the second biggest theme in the book is definitely surface and depth. I mentioned after my father died at 7, I learned how to cry as an adult, which basically means I learned how to look like everything was all good in my life and emotionally not be in a good place. And I see it a lot in a lot of different people, and you see it in like come back to the mental health issues. So yeah, I speak about surface and depth a lot. I speak about real life situations. My soft spot for women, because growing up I saw I saw things and I did things. I'm guilty. I'm guilty, especially for the booty pursuit. So I'm trying to make my difference now. Can't keep cycling the same thing. And as I told you, my dynamics changed as a Christian, so my value system's changed as well. So hoping we can impart that and realize how important good teaching is. So yeah, that's me. Catch up with you soon. Soundtrack drops on the 20th, and the whole book itself will be available as of the 26th. Hopefully we'll catch you before then. See ya. Now.